Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Right now, at both locations of Team Honda, the Dream Deal sales event is now even better. For a limited time, get 0% financing on a great selection of certified Hondas. The savings are yours at Team Honda on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge and Team Honda of Acadiana on I-49, just south of Opelousas.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours and your little slice of South Louisiana heaven since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you and yours. We start today's show with Louisiana news and a very, very troubling trend that continues. The list continues to grow steadily, and there appears to be no end in sight. We start with a 15-year-old boy arrested and booked with second-degree murder this past Sunday for fatally shooting an 18-year-old on Canal Street. The NOPD said the two teenagers had their fatal confrontation in the 200 block of Canal Street near the intersection with St. Charles Avenue and Royal Street. The victim, according to the NOPD, was shot multiple times. The 15-year-old, meanwhile, booked with second-degree murder, illegal carrying of weapons, and the illegal possession of a handgun by a juvenile. Meanwhile, in one of the scariest indicators of what our society, and particularly what we've come to here in South Louisiana, and the fact that it doesn't matter, apparently, anymore whether it is a small town, medium town, major city. It's everywhere now. Amite, Louisiana. An 18-year-old arrested after allegedly committing an armed robbery on a 15-year-old. After police investigated the armed robbery, they got a warrant and searched the home of the 18-year-old. Jonathan, if you will, put up the cache of weapons that were confiscated from the home of this 18-year-old. 3 handguns, all of which were reported stolen, an AR rifle, 2 Draco-style firearms, numerous firearms, magazines, and ammunition, and approximately 55 grams of marijuana. My question, among many others, is how in God's name did the adults in that home not know that a veritable arsenal of weapons was in that house? Look at this picture, y'all. I was trying to think, at 18 years of age, where in my parents' house I could hide something like this. I sat there just scratching my head because there's no amount of places in my parents' home where I could have hidden all of this stuff. This is a massive failure. 18 years of age, possessing 3 stolen handguns, an AR rifle, 2 Draco-style firearms, numerous magazines, and ammunition. If I could channel my inner Shakespeare, something's rotten in Denmark. Something is seriously rotten in Denmark, or, as the case may be here, in a meat. Finally, from one tragic situation to another, I can't imagine what it must be like for individuals that are going through their first holiday season after losing a dear loved one, a spouse, teenager, in this case, a child. Jackson, Louisiana. A man accused of driving drunk crosses the center line, crashes into another vehicle, resulting in the death of 6-year-old Clara Carpenter. Why we in our state continue to subject our fellow citizens to carnage and completely unnecessary death on our highways is beyond me. This poor family, by all accounts, this 6-year-old was the light of their lives. And this individual will now have to shoulder the burden for the rest of his life of killing an innocent child who did nothing more than get in the family vehicle going about their way for the holidays. I have been so very blessed in my life to not have the death, particularly unnecessary death, of a young family member. But at 6 years old, this is as tragic as it gets. I have not yet confirmed, so don't take this as gospel, but one news outlet reports that this is not his first DWI or DUI, whatever terminology you choose to use. At the end of the day, y'all, it says so very much about us that something as simple as grabbing the keys to the car, to go and pick up a loaf of bread, to go and visit a relative, to go and pick up your child from football practice, piano practice, soccer practice, whatever, could very well be the last time you see that person. It is galling, it's insulting, and at the end of the day, it's a 6-year-old, y'all. This darling girl, the pictures that the family posted, it's very easy to see how they characterized her as the light of their lives, extinguished by someone who made the conscious decision to get behind the wheel of a car while impaired. There are so many options out there, the most obvious of which is to sit your butt at home and drink. Make one trip to the store ahead of time, get whatever you're going to get, go home and consume it. If the people at home don't allow alcohol, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there are taxi cabs, there's any number of ways that a tragedy like this could so easily be avoided. Sadly, not only will this individual shoulder that burden for the rest of his life, but what should be the most joyous time of the year for this family will never be that way again. All because of the selfishness of one individual. The two parents were both hospitalized as a result of the crash. But the physical damage done, and I don't know the extent of their injuries, but I feel fairly comfortable in saying the physical damages will pale in comparison to the mental suffering that these parents will face. You've heard me say this before, y'all, and I firmly believe it. We're supposed to be better than this. There are tons of things in life that are totally and completely beyond our control. We just can't do anything about it. Try as hard as we might, we can't fix it. This is not one of those things, y'all. This was a conscious decision that ended up ruining the lives of a family and one of the most darling 6-year-olds you will ever encounter. We should be, at this point in time, better than this. First break of today's show. It is Tuesday, coming up, second segment. So you know what that means. Yep, time for another illustrious edition of Now That's Just Stupid. That's next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Make the most of every moment together in a 3-row Mazda CX-9. Find yours during the season of inspiration.
Make no payments for 90 days on a new CX-9 during the season of inspiration at Team Mazda.
Hi, gang. Clarence Bugs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bugs Show. If you are new to the show, you may not be aware that in response to the ever-growing level of stupidity, not just in our country, but now around the world, we've instituted a new segment entitled, Now That's Just Stupid. But the level of stupid that we're talking about here transcends ordinary stupid. Ordinary, everyday stupid is what you are well familiar with, spelled S-T-U-P-I-D. The level of stupid we're talking about here has led us to coin a new phrase with a new spelling, S-T-O-O-P-I-D. Now that's just stupid. We start halfway around the world in Ireland. Don't know how many of you have kept up with goings on in Ireland, but they are suffering, like other countries, serious financial hardships. They have an immigration crisis that is out of control, and people there just trying to make a living are suffering financial hardships. So the folks in Ireland got up in arms recently when they found out that the government there, you can't make this stuff up, in the Parliament building where all of the government business is conducted, it recently came to light that they have now installed in the bathrooms, the men's bathrooms in the Parliament building, free tampon dispensers. You heard me right. Free tampon dispensers in the men's restrooms in Parliament. As you might imagine, a lot of people upset because, wait a minute, you mean to tell me this is how you're spending our money in the midst of a financial crisis? Those obviously were the sensible people. But some, as you might imagine, have defended this, saying, well, it's about time that we made this stuff available to trans people Here's a clue. If you need a tampon, you're not a dude. I mean, is it that hard to figure out? Stupidity knows no bounds. Now, let's bring this back home, shall we? Speaking of confused people, the Biden-Harris administration has completely and totally embraced the DEI push. When I first saw the story, I had to ask myself, as a former NASCAR fan, well, what does Dale Earnhardt Incorporated have to do with this? No, not that DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. This story, the actual felony arrest, happened a couple months ago. But the media tried to hide it from you. They wanted to keep this really, really quiet. Because after all, it would kind of spoil the diversity, equity, and inclusion narrative. This is what happens when you hire people, not based on their ability and experience, but because they fit a narrative. The Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Office of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition in the United States Department of Energy. This is the person second in command of making sure that all the nuclear waste from nuclear power plants and the like are disposed of safely. This guy fits the mode for the Biden-Harris administration. Jonathan, if you would, put the picture up for the folks at home to see. Now, this is not just about dude. This is not just about bruh. Bruh, dude, mister, took a plane trip going to a conference. Did not check in any luggage. But upon arriving at his destination, went to the carousel where you claim your luggage, and walked off with a woman's $2,365 suitcase. Now, who spends $2,000 on a suitcase? That's a different show for a different day. But the woman who the luggage belonged to went to the airport officials and said, my luggage is missing. So they do, like they normally do, they look it up because they scan all of this stuff to be sure they keep track of it. And they inform her, well, no ma'am, it's here, it arrived. So like I told Marty they do on the game shows, they go, let's go to the video, because it's a major airport. And you know, in any airport in America these days, there are cameras out the wazoo. So they see dude walk off with the luggage despite the fact that you didn't check in any luggage. So they track bruh down at the hotel where he, yeah, I said it, he is staying, and question him. Well, no, I didn't take anything that didn't belong to me. A couple hours later, bruh calls the police back and says, well, I wasn't really truthful about this. So they ask, well, where are the clothes? It wasn't no clothes. It was my clothes in the suitcase. So let me get this straight. Your suitcase on its own went to your closet, told the clothes, come on, bruh, we going on a trip. They jumped in the suitcase. The suitcase took an Uber to the airport, looked on the kiosk to find out your flight number, and then accompanied you to your destination. Now, aside from the fact that it's felony theft, here's the first thing that occurred to me. Dude doesn't know if he's a man or a woman. Dude doesn't know that he didn't check any luggage into the flight. Dude doesn't know that you didn't pack a bag, so obviously these clothes and this suitcase do not belong to you. Is this the second in command that you want in charge of disposing of nuclear waste? You can't make this stuff up. But he fit the role. So the Biden-Harris administration can say, oh, look, we got a transgender on staff. This is what happens when you don't hire people based on qualifications. You hire them based on the fact that they like to sleep with the same gender, or in this case, don't know what gender they actually are. But hey, at least we've got diversity, equity, and inclusion. How's that working out? But you know what's even more troubling? This is the second in command of a federal agency. And the media went out of their way to keep the story hidden from you. Like I've said so many other times, you have to ask yourself, if they lied to me about this, if they tried to hide this from me, what else do you think they've lied to us about and hidden from us? Just an observation. Just an observation. Bottom of the hour break. When we come back, a complete lack of respect for anyone and life. And of course, sadly, it's here in Louisiana. That's next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Buggs Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Right now, at both locations of Team Honda, the Dream Deal sales event is now even better. For a limited time, get 0% financing on a great selection of certified Hondas. The savings are yours at Team Honda on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge and Team Honda of Acadiana on I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, in recent memory, we have watched with alarming frequency homicides just get out of control here in Louisiana and all across the nation, for that matter. But being a Louisiana boy as I am, I pay particular attention to how and when it happens in our state. The total, complete lack of respect for life is so troubling. And it's gotten to the point now where when individuals with no conflict resolution skills act upon their impulses, they do it in a manner that clearly demonstrates they don't care about anyone or anything other than themselves. I'm sure by now you're familiar with the story of the shootout that happened at the Tiger truck stop in Gross Tate. Two brothers, one of whom was killed in the gunfight, according to law enforcement, started a fight with another guy at the truck stop. All three then produced weapons and just started indiscriminately firing shots. Law enforcement investigating this literal shootout counted 50 spent shell casings at the truck stop. Now, I will never claim to be the brightest bulb in the chandelier. I was just blessed by God with two wonderful parents that instilled common sense in all of their children. But you know, at a truck stop where there are any number of customers, not to mention more gasoline and diesel than you can measure. And they thought, apparently, that it was a good idea to settle their differences over tens of thousands of gallons of explosive material by firing off 50 spent rounds. All it would have taken is one errant bullet with someone there filling up their vehicle, and the whole freaking place goes up, countless lives lost. But these three individuals didn't care about that. They could have cared less. Actually, that should be, they could not have cared any less about the lives of all these innocent people. So far, the two survivors, one of the brothers and the alleged victim, have both been charged with murder. The DA says once we complete the investigation, then we'll decide whether or not it was self-defense or homicide. But to open fire to that magnitude in the midst of a business setting, surrounded by gasoline and diesel pumps and tanks, shows clearly we don't care about anybody or anything other than ourselves and our anger. It's frightening. My fellow Louisianians, I cannot stress enough the importance of situational awareness. It is such a sad commentary. You no longer have the luxury of going about your daily business and not being concerned with what's happening around you. If you are like me, a person that grew up in the era where I'm just minding my own business. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not doing anything to anybody. I'm just minding my business. Go and take care of my appointed rounds, trying to get where I need to go. I'm not concerned about what's happening around me. If you are still of that mindset, you might be the next victim. You can no longer afford this, y'all. There are nutcases armed to the teeth, 18-year-old with an arsenal of weapons at home in Amite, Louisiana. You no longer have that luxury because anywhere, at any time, in the vernacular of the streets, something might pop off. It is absolutely insane these days. I mean, I guess I have to understand when you are so angry over whatever that you feel justified in pulling out weapons and just indiscriminately spraying bullets. I guess it might be a little hard for you at that moment to think, it's about 20,000 gallons of gasoline and diesel right here where I'm shooting. There's all sorts of instant customers who have nothing to do with this beef that I have. And apparently, their anger completely overrode their common sense, if they had any to begin with, and they're caring about innocent lives. Meanwhile, in New Orleans, last weekend, the Bayou Classic, and on Canal Street, as you might imagine, after any event in New Orleans, Essence Fest, Mardi Gras, Sugar Bowl, you name it, Bourbon Street packed with people. So what happens after the Bayou Classic when Bourbon Street is chocked full of people? But an 18-year-old pulls out a gun and ends up shooting 5 people. Fortunately, thank you God, none of them died from their injuries. But how in God's name do you care so very little about innocent human life that you open fire in a crowd of people, not knowing whether one of the people that was just hit or is in the line of fire is your neighbor, not knowing whether or not any of the people in the line of fire is your relative, not knowing whether anybody in the line of fire happens to be a child. Y'all, we are witnessing the failing and potential destruction of our society. I forget which of the founding fathers said this, and I'll paraphrase it for you. A democracy, a republic like ours, and the freedoms that we enjoy are predicated upon a moral society. Meaning, this republic cannot stand, it cannot prosper, it cannot flourish unless it is inhabited by individuals who respect others, who care about the sanctity of life, and who have moral fiber. We are witnessing it, y'all, right before our very eyes. When you care so little about innocent people that you will fire upwards of 50 shots while standing on top of tens of thousands of gallons of explosive fuel, not to mention all the innocent customers, when you care so little as to open fire on a packed Bourbon Street, we are witnessing the moral failing in our country right before our very eyes. It's a sad commentary because we are watching go by the wayside one of the things that elevated us to the status of the greatest nation on the face of this earth. Of course, now, if you're a student of history, and particularly if you're not, go back and review the fall of the Roman Empire and watch the similarities between what happened in ancient Rome and what's happening now in America. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Buggs Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Tremonti's has meat, Tremonti's has seafood, Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters, huge wine and liquor selection, beer and all the spices you need, Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats, ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs, 20 flavors of sausage for the grill, daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, as an American that loves this country dearly and is completely enraptured by the ideals that this country was formed under, it is painful to see how unresponsive government has become to the will of the people. It is, and again, I forget which of the founding fathers said this or whom the individual was when, let me back up. A government, people should not fear their government. A government should fear its people. Meaning, tyranny, as Ronald Reagan once said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. The nature of government started out in this country as being responsive to the will and the needs of the people. We have strayed so far from that it's scary. For example, the new green agenda and how the Biden-Harris administration is hell-bent on forcing us to drive electric vehicles. When the price of gas just went through the roof, who was it? Buttigieg that said, well, you could save $800 on gas this year if you bought an electric car. Only a liberal would tell you with a straight face, spend $60,000, the average price of an electric vehicle, spend $60,000 to save $800 a year. Yeah, that'll work. And not to mention, where is all this extra electricity going to come from to power millions and millions and millions of new electric vehicles? But I digress. New poll out last week asking, quote, what do you believe is most likely to provide America with reliable, long-term energy independence? Had they asked me, I would have said, put Trump back in office, because we were energy independent until this clown that we have in office now took over. But I digress. 1.2% of the people asked said electric vehicles will give us energy independence. 1.2%. And yet, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the folks on the left are hell-bent on shoving electric vehicles down our throats. Whatever happened to governing according to the Constitution? Whatever happened to governing according to the will of the people? And whatever happened to just plain, good old-fashioned common sense? 1.2% of those who were asked said, yeah, electric cars, that'll give us energy independence. Meanwhile, speaking of how they abide by the axiom, one set of rules for you and another set of rules for me. With the recent spate of mass shootings in our country, Joe Biden and the Democrats once again are sounding the bell for gun control. Joe Biden recently said assault weapons, quote, have no redeeming social value, end of quote. What he neglected to say after informing us that automatic weapons have no redeeming social value, what he neglected to say is that the Secret Service detail that protects him 24/7 has, guess what? Automatic weapons. Fully automatic. Thank you, Marty. So let me get this straight. You have a security detail. You live in a place surrounded by walls, and the people that protect you have all the fully automatic weapons, some machine guns, to protect you. But the people who live in Democrat-controlled, crime-ridden cities don't deserve to be able to protect themselves. Maybe we should have sent a picture of the arsenal confiscated from the 18-year-old in Amite, Louisiana, to the White House. Dude, 18-year-old, had his own security detail. 3 handguns, all of which were reported stolen, and 3 other semi and fully automatic rifles. Listen, y'all, this is not about debating whether or not you should have a semi-automatic or a fully automatic. What this is about is one set of rules for you and another set of rules for me. If the weapons are good enough to protect Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, and all the rest of them, why aren't they good enough for me to protect myself? No redeeming social value, end of quote. Funny how that works, isn't it? But you know, it's not that hard to see. All you have to do is, get ready, Marty, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. If we allow this sort of insanity to continue, we will have no one to blame but ourselves. And listen, y'all, I get it. I understand. You are busy with the hectic pace of life. You have things that you are obligated to do. You have children and all of the stuff that comes along with that. So many of you are of the opinion, Clarence, I see where you're going, but I'm just too busy. We can no longer afford this, my fellow Americans. We can't. Because by the time we wake up and demand change, it pains me to say it may well be too late. There is a reason the Founding Fathers, in their wisdom, I almost said infinite, but that's reserved for God. There's a reason they placed the power in the hands of the individual, not the government, the individual. And we, unfortunately, have lost sight of the fact that along with power comes responsibility. We are supposed to have the right to protect ourselves, our families, our property, our loved ones. But that also means that given that power, you have a responsibility to use it judicially. You cannot willy-nilly, helter-skelter, pull up to the Tiger truck stop, see somebody you don't like, get into an argument, and then pop off 50 plus rounds in the parking lot. Responsibility. You want to know the big difference between liberals and conservatives? Liberals are of the opinion, if it feels good, do it. Conservatives, on the other hand, are of the opinion, two words, personal responsibility. End of discussion. Speaking of the end of things, end of the show. My time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But once again, this day, maybe more so than any other day in history, I give it to you. You know what? You're right. America, we are not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is, and God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, I hope you realize that he loves you, and you know I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. Let's take care of each other, and we'll see you soon. God bless.